Good morning. Thursday morning, April 22nd. Our last devotion of the week. Sally Crocker, good morning to you. Who else are we welcoming today? Jan Akins, good to see you this morning. Wait for a couple of others here. Suzanne Linbo, Daryl and Suzanne, good morning. Welcome. Lori Cares, welcome this morning. Jeremy and Wendy, good morning to you. There's my mom, good morning. Steve and Andrea, good morning. Welcome everybody. Janisa, good to see you this morning. Marcy Walters, welcome this morning. Barbara Richardson, I see you, good morning. So today I wanted to talk about, we're not going to be in Psalms today. I was in Psalms this morning. Alyssa Tucker, good morning. Debbie King, good morning. As a part of my normal routine and so on. But I am choosing not to talk about that today as a part of this devotional because I want to just address another thing that's really important to me, and that is how I navigate stress. And I wrote stress specifically because that feels like it's more universal to people. Everybody kind of relates to. But honestly, it's more anxiety. And they're both of those things are things that a negative emotional state that we fall into, that stresses, I feel like, I'm not being technical here, but it feels like something that's like weighing on you currently. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by your current situation, and anxiety more looks forward, something that's going to happen in the future, or what you perceive could happen in the future. And so my current stress feels overwhelming right now, but it really relates to this weekend. The fact I mentioned yesterday, I'm doing 5 different presentations this weekend, and so it's kind of like, it's kind of weighing on you, and when you're, and so it's producing some low grade anxiety. And when that starts to well up, then my brain doesn't work quite the way it should, and then that creates more anxiety because I'm not being efficient. I'm not getting things done to the degree that I really want to, and then it sends me down unhealthy paths. I'm tempted to, because I want to mask this feeling I have. So I do more escapism, numbing out. So escape for me is like, watching a movie, or watching YouTube videos, or any number of activities that I can kind of abandon my current responsibilities, disengage, and pretend like they're not there. That would be examples of unhealthy ways of addressing stress, because when you come back to reality, your stress is increased because you haven't been productive. So how do I manage this, and how does God weigh into all of this for me? And because all of us deal with this, right? It's not uncommon. So I just thought I'd talk about it a little bit in case other people are interested in developing a little bit more tools in your tool belt. So I'm going to tell about my experience, what works for me, and how I lean on the Lord in times like this and make healthy choices and so on. So I jotted a few things down in my my journal this morning. It was a helpful reflection for me as well. One of the things I journal about regularly, this is one of the points, I guess, of how I manage anxiety and stress, is I journal out what I'm feeling, and I keep a record of that. And sometimes it's helpful to just get it on paper. Sometimes it's helpful to go back and look at, how I felt in previous days. And so that's one of my practices. I regularly just write down what I'm feeling, and it can be helpful at times. So my So here, I'm just going to give you some random things. I didn't really have time to put them in any kind of logical order. So I'm going to read a bunch of them and hopefully it will be helpful. So my biggest point of feeling overwhelmed or pressure is the fact that I have more to do on my plate than I really feel like I have time to do. Do you relate to that? And so that's producing stress and anxiety about this upcoming. I have deadlines this weekend, and I'm like, oh, I'm not there. And so what that produced in me, yesterday was a major study day for me to prepare for the weekend. And initially, I'm looking at all of these subjects, and I feel stuck because I feel the low-grade anxiety. I feel stuck. My brain isn't working right. And so what I really want to do is have some sort of systematic way that I accomplish this. But when my brain feels stuck, I have to kind of abandon that idea a little bit. So what I did is I just thought, I'm going to study the thing that is most interesting to me in the moment. What I feel like, yeah, I want to study that. Well, that happened to be talk number 5, Monday night. I didn't even have to prepare at all this week. I could probably just prepare on Monday and I'd be okay. That was one of my mental strategies to say, you really only have 4 that you have to deal with this week. You don't have to deal with the 5th one because you have Monday. But to unstick my brain, that's where I started. I started probably the most inefficient way, but it was something to get my brain turning. And after some time spending on that topic and my brain kind of got active, I abandoned that and went to the more pressing things I really should be studying for, those things that I'm supposed to be. I have to finish one today. I'm have a talk on, anyway, whatever order they're in, the more logical way of approaching it. That's one way of unsticking my brain. So one of the things that I do is I alter my expectations, how I manage anxiety, alter my expectations. I'm going to be a little less efficient than I normally am. And sometimes that, in being inefficient, is a way of being stressful. So I alter my expectations like, you know what, I'm going to be a little less efficient, and that's okay. And that, having that attitude helped me to take this strategy, and it unstuck my brain yesterday. And I was able to have a very productive day yesterday. Let me read just a few of these. As I manage my stress, I pay attention to avoid unhealthy choices and practice healthy choices. I am very aware of the unhealthy choices that I would prefer to make when I don't feel good inside. And I have to avoid those things, and I have to make sure that I'm consciously pursuing things that are healthy. So here's a bunch of them. So I stop at regular intervals to pray and reflect. I mentioned this earlier this week when I have a lot on my plate, all the more reason to slow down and spend more time in prayer, in the Word, or reflecting. And for me, when I'm studying the Word as a part of that actually is associated with my stress, I have to disengage from that, stand up. I'll walk around. For me, I'm in my office, and I'll get out of my office. I'll walk around. I'll do a lap around the inside of the building, and I stop. I acknowledge the Lord, that I'll pray to Him and say, God, I'm feeling these feelings right now. I need help, and I reach out to Him, and I'll stretch, anything to kind of break things up and stop and just remind myself of who God is, that He is a ready help in times of trouble. He is a refuge. He is a rock, that He's right there giving me grace. He approves of me. Whatever I need to dwell on to help manage, kind of freshen up my brain, and then I go back to work. Here's another thing that I do. I speak truth to my heart and mind that wants to bolt and numb out. I say truthful statements because I'm tempted to do unhealthy things, and I want to engage in the healthy things, so I speak truth to myself. What are examples of these? Number 1, these feelings are normal. You're feeling this feeling of anxiety, stress, whatever it is, yeah, that's probably reasonable to feel these, given the fact that your schedule is a little bit more robust than normal, or that you have these circumstances that are making you feel this way. It's okay. You're not going to die. Because I don't like these feelings. I want them to go away. It's reasonable to feel them. like, yeah, you're going to be a little stressed right now. There's going to be a little anxiety. That's normal. So these feelings are normal. That's one truth statement that I make. Another one is that these feelings will pass. I'm not always going to feel this way. Another thing about stress and anxiety, how it feels, and you want to escape, is you feel like this is going to be my life. This is everything. It just feels so overwhelming. It's everything you feel right now. And you have to remind yourself, in like 15 minutes, these kind of more intense feelings that I'm experiencing right now will feel different. My feelings, if you're like me, do this all day long. And sometimes I feel really good. I'm in a flow state. But then those kind of feelings build, and I feel the stress building, and I feel anxiety as I think about some of the events that are happening, and my deadlines are approaching. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Even though you feel a little bit more stressed than you were an hour ago, in about 15 minutes, you're going to feel differently than you feel now. And so I speak these statements to myself so I don't get overwhelmed. I speak truth to my heart and my mind to keep me from making unhealthy choices. I try to eat well. I've said before, I'm an emotional eater. So I'm trying to eat well, good, balanced meals and so on, because that's really helpful for my brain, my emotions to actually function the best that they can under the circumstances. But honestly, I also don't do as well. Yesterday or day before, one of those days, I have stashes around in close proximity of, well, candy. In this case, it was Reese's peanut butter Easter eggs. They are delicious. So yesterday, I'm like studying, and I'm like, kind of getting agitated, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have those Easter eggs. And I pulled open a drawer that was only, a lean away, and I ate far more of those than I probably should have in that moment. So I'm making healthy choices for the most part, okay? Again, I alter my expectations. So occasionally I'm like, I probably should have not ate, 2 handfuls of Reese's peanut butter Easter eggs. But in the moment, they felt really good. They made me feel much better in the moment. But I just don't want to make that choice consistently. It will not pay off in long term. So I try to eat healthy. I am conscious that my low-level anxiety causes me to overreact to stimuli. Case in point, yesterday, this is reality check. Yesterday, right after devotion, here I am being all spiritual yesterday and kind of in this Zen mode of hearing from God and communicating those things. I go home and I have a conversation with Martha, and she asked me to order a couple of books on Amazon, and she likes to have these things. I want to give these things away. So she always has gifts on hand. She's a gift giver. I am not a gift giver. So in the moment, I'm listening to her little list of gifts that she wants to give away, and can you order these for me? And I thought, is that really necessary? I didn't say it like that, but I definitely implied it in whatever I said. And so she pushed back, and of course, in my low-level anxiety, everything is a little bit more stimulating than normal, and so I felt she had a tone. So I proceeded to push back harder, and in my mind saying, Mark, this is not a big deal. These are her books. They have no effect on you whatsoever. Why are you making this a big deal? But for whatever reason, my emotions were like, whoa, and my mind's telling me, Mark, stop it. This is not important. You need to be helpful here, not be, make it Martha's life harder, And so I wished it were sooner. I wish I could say right in the moment that I turned it off and, just was really helpful. But it took me some time to back off, and I had to go to Martha and say, hey, I'm sorry. I made more of a deal of that than I needed to, and please forgive me. I had to make it right. So I'm conscious that my low-level anxiety causes me to overreact to stimuli, and thankfully I don't do that a lot because I'm conscious of it, but you have to know I did that right after devotions. After I was being all spiritual, I went home and made some unhealthy choices with Martha. But I'm glad she's gracious. Exercise regularly. That should be a no-brainer. It's helpful in the times to exercise. I'm avoiding self-condemnation. That's the harsh inner critic that exists in me, and I have to challenge constantly and say that's not right. And so I avoid being self-condemnational when I'm in these states. I have to be conscious of that. I've already talked about I alter my expectations. When I get stuck, I move. What I mean by that is I get up and I walk. Running, and it's part of exercise too, running for me. I think so clearly when I'm walking or running. I can work out solutions to problems. I can work out a majority of messages. If I've been studying for a long period of time and I feel a little stuck, the next morning when I'm on my run, I will be much more creative and free-flowing in my thinking about how to manage or creatively teach on that particular passage. And there's a technical term for this called bilateral stimulation, that the constant left-right movement is freeing in our minds. It reduces stress and so on. And there's other ways of accomplish that, but exercise and running, walking is helpful to me. And here's the last one. I congratulate myself for making good choices, and I give grace for making poor choices. Every time I make a good, healthy choice, because I'm rejecting a bad choice when I make my good choice, I say, hey, good job. You made a good choice. It helps with the self-condemnation. And then when I do make a bad choice, when I eat a half a bag of Reese's peanut butter Easter eggs, or I challenge unnecessarily Martha, who is trying to do this kind thing and buy people gifts randomly that she can give away, and I'm being a jerk, I say, Mark, you're under stress. It's okay. You're not a bad person. You made some unhealthy choices, and give some grace, move on, make some healthy choices now from this point forward. So those are some things that are, I hope, helpful to you. It all really centers in walking consistently with my relationship with the Lord. All of that is interwoven into all of these things. These are all strategies, but really it's God helping me all throughout the process, all throughout my day. And I do this several times a day. And so I think feeling spiritually mature, we have to take into account that we need emotional maturity as well. So I think it's helpful to talk about strategies of emotional maturity in devotions like this. And so I hope that is helpful, and at least lets you know that I'm human, and I think that's important too. Pastors get put up on platforms like we live at some other level, some other plane. And I'm just like you. I'm just striving to serve the Lord and love Him with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength. But I fail, and I struggle with things like stress and anxiety. And so we're in this together. Grace of God, and let's give Him the glory in our life. So that's it for today. I will see you on Sunday for those of you who live locally. And if not, we'll see the rest of you on Monday morning. Have a great and blessed weekend.